Welcome to Gulfstream today on another absolutely stellar day here in Hallandale Beach. Brian Addo, Samantha Perry with you. We hope to see you out here on Samantha. What is, as we talked off the air, very steamy day here in Hallandale Beach.
It is. I would like to just lay out in the paddock here. It's a beautiful day here for racing, and I'm excited for today and excited that I'm not up in the Northeast where they had to cancel racing where it's cold.
Yeah, very, very cold. So welcome aboard. We hope to have you all day and all weekend for that matter. And we've got the $100,000. It grows quickly down here at Gulfstream Park. $100,000 in that gross jackpot Rainbow Six. It'll kick off in race 4. Ron Nicoletti will have a ticket, and he'll be up here with me in race number 1. But already about $40,000 in that early pick 5 pool. It paid, I think, $138,000 yesterday. I think that was 2, maybe 3 tickets. So
I think it was just a single one, actually. Took it down.
it was, I think it was 2 because I think the
Okay.
pool was comfortably over $300,000. So
Still very impressive. I know one of the tickets I saw
wasn't
on
me, by
Twitter.
the way.
Oh, I wish it was. You'd be buying lunch, right?
be buying a new car at least. I know
Oh,
that.
yeah. I know yours
I
is in
did-
bad shape right now.
I did see that ticket out there, so we golf clapped to that. Let's see my ticket, for that matter, in this early pick 5, $42. It could be a chaotic race number 1 on the turf. I'm spreading, as you can see there, 1-4. For me, I lost my top pick in race number 3. I'm going to scratch into rain in race number 3. Excuse me, that was race number 2. 23 is the order. We got to replay a little Jewel coming up in race number 4. I go 3 deep with the top pick, Lakota Territory, and then the single to get out. My best bet of the day, Judge Judith. 12-1 on the morning line will be a lot lower than that. Looks loose and controlling in there to me. $42, and we'll get to the opener, Samantha. It's a good one. It's a tough one. $35,000 maiden claimers, 3-year-olds going a mile on the turf. You went to number 7. Well, it's a good segue because you went to the 7, Mr. Pacifist. We'll bring up the stat, and then I'll throw it to you because I had a big one here on Brendan Walsh. And Brendan is, I believe, 25% maiden special weight to maiden claimers the past 5 years. It's an all-across-the-board stat. Kind of says Mr. Pacifist might run a little bit better today.
You know, you would hope so, Brian. This was just out of his league last out. I've been on him a few times since then. They've put the blinkers on him. He's a lot more forward.
Yep.
Brendan started galloping him in company. So he's really just kind of put his head down more and seems a little more game. He's had some solid works on the grass course. I think if he can be more forward here today, I still don't think he's incredible.
Yeah.
But I still think against this group, it could be a live shot.
Well, I think that's the thing here. It's the biggest drop in racing. He was 56-1 on debut. Duke in Colorado is going to run the stakes tomorrow, so obviously this is a much better spot for him. He could wake up. I went to Hollywood Close-Up. I find it interesting. And Kathleen O'Connell, we have a lot of respect for the job she does down here, but one of the things she doesn't do down here is claim horses.
Right.
She just doesn't do it. The stat is 0 for 3, but I think it's significant. She dips in and grabs this one. This gelded son of Mendelssohn was in maiden special weight races on the turf at the Meadowlands at Belmont and Aqueduct. Maybe you can tell me a little about this horse because he was with Jorge Duarte.
Yeah, he was. And this was one that kind of got a reputation at the Meadowlands. He savaged one of the outriders. And then at the Belmont and Aqueduct meet, Hyro and Doan, who rode him that time, kept him completely away from horses. He was just so naughty. And they gelded him, and that really helped a lot. And they took the blinkers off of him. Kind of seemed like it just kind of let him take a breath a bit. And he was training pretty forwardly into this race. I know George really wanted to get him on the grass. Unfortunately, it was rained off that day, and he just ran a bit in spots here. Still, they took a hit buying this horse for $275,000, and it didn't really play out.
Right.
Yeah.
It is what it is at this point. I think it's also noteworthy that he's going to run now on turf with Lasix back on, put food for thought there. And boy, we are all over the place. And I actually don't have your 3, Lieutenant Jack, a firster for Joe Orsino.
Yeah, I think that this could be a little bit of a sneaky horse. Worked 10-2 at the OBS April sale. Midshipmans can be deceivingly good sometimes on the grass. They're 14%. Definitely a turf horse that just has those long turf pasterns. He sold his $20,000 as a yearling, so somebody made a little bit of money off him, getting him for $140,000 as a 2-year-old. Joe Orsino doesn't usually crank him up
No.
first time out. And it's interesting because this horse has worked everywhere. Louisiana Downs, Oaklawn Park, Ellis Park. I mean, this horse has been everywhere. So he's got maturity. I want to know what the story is on this, and I want to find out today because I think it's interesting. He's been everywhere, and now he lands here and on the grass.
Yeah, there's got to be, maybe there's a couple different stories.
Yeah.
Tyler Gaffleone's name, that could be significant as well. It's a tough race. Samantha will be out on the turf course for that one, Ronnie, and I'll get into it in the opener. Race number 2 is early pick 4 here. It's a fast main track, 7 furlongs, fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. The tag is 8,000. We'll take a look at Samantha's early pick 4.
Yeah, this was a tough one, and I was just going to use 3 or 4 horses out of here, but there's no reason to not hit the all button in this race. I mean, it's just how it's going to go. Unfortunately, there was going to be a huge favorite of the 3, but now with that horse out, and that was one that I was going to go down with. But now I've got the infamous all button. Sorry, Ron. In race number 2, my top pick is the number 2. She's a Stormy in race number 4. Singling the number 4 here, that is a la carte, who has been working quite impressively for the Billy Mott barn. And in race 5, my top pick, the 1, Riveting Spirit. I don't know who's going to be the speed out of this race. It's going to be interesting, and I think Judge Judith is going to be a wolf in sheep's clothing here. 22.50, my ticket.
All right, early pick 4 time there. As you see, the pools have been very, very healthy. So we'll get to this race, and as Samantha said, it's a big scratch of Sweet Pearl. She was 8-5 on the morning line. I would assume heavy favoritism now is going to go to Rain. I scratched into her. Did you as well?
Yes.
Yeah, so she's going to be tough. She goes off to claim now for Herbie Miller. Luis Saez aboard, and she likes winning races when she's with her friends.
Yeah, she really does, and she's with them here today.
Yeah.
But this is a race where sometimes you just can't trust these horses. Now, I like the fact that she loves the 7 furlong distance. It's kind of a tricky distance for a horse, but still, I think that there could be an upset here. And I like that you went for the number 4, Caged Pixie. This could be a sleeper.
Well, she had a trip last time. I don't know where she would have finished. It would have been closer if nothing else. I mean, she was in tight and steadied early, dropped back in a race that was all speed. So with an alert beginning, Paco gets aboard as well. Paco Lopez, he's going to put, you see she's got speed in the past. He's going to put it back in her. Dignified for you. Needs to step up, but that was a decent race last time.
It was, and no wins at this distance, which is kind of for me. But this is a throw a dart at the board here for this race.
Yeah, I think, I don't necessarily love Rain, and I was trying to beat her. To be completely honest with you, we print so early. I would figured she was favored in this spot, but it is what it is now. But she's the one to beat in here. Race number 3 is a good one. We've been looking forward to seeing Little Jewel come back. It's a maiden special weight, sprinting on the turf now. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. Easy to pull up this replay because Little Jewel, Little Mike's little sister, right? Boy, she was about to run over horses last time.
Yep, so here she is on the rail. 7, she's Stormy is up front here, and Little Jewel was not impressive in the paddock. She kind of looked like a little roly-poly-oly to me, but she really came flying, and Stormy really had every chance to win, but Stormy was coming off of a huge layoff. I think she's going to have a much better effort today, but you saw Little Jewel. She was really game. Now, I'm concerned about her maybe reacting off of that race.
Yeah.
She really did run her tail off. I'd like to see her. Let's see how she looks out in the paddock, too. Maybe she'll be a little more fit, less round.
It was her first start in over a year and a half.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
It makes sense. Were you surprised? I certainly was that she's right back at 5 furlongs. You would think with this pedigree and the family, they'd want another turn in here.
Yeah, I am. And maybe it's just the way the races kind of
Could
came
be.
up.
Good point.
Maybe I expect her to be a bit more sharp today, probably not so far behind because she can't let him get away in front of her. I think Stormy is going to be the filly to beat in here, though.
Yeah, and that's who I went with. And because of what Samantha just said, she's ahead in here as far as she wants to go. And I understand Little Jewel had trouble last time, and she was coming off the long layoff. Let's bring up a stat for Jimmy Jerkins because she was off an August to January layoff. It's not like she had much of a recency edge, and she just tired a little bit. But this is a good move for Jimmy. Now, 21% the past 5 years. We've talked about it time and time again. You want to be in front sprinting on this turf course. She's going to be that.
Yep, she will. And like you said, she just tired out last time. So she's got the fitness of the race under her belt now. And I think it'll be all systems go, unless somebody comes flying from the outside.
Mrs. Whistler is another one coming out of that race. She was fourth, and she's another one now, making her second start off the layoff. My racehorse own. So you probably take an underlaid price, but she's not impossible in this spot.
No, she isn't. And I don't think we can just pick Little Jewel and She's Stormy and think you're going to get out of the race. I think there could be some horses from the outside. Feline is certainly one that can come closing, but I think Feline eventually is going to need a bit longer and still 0 for 8.
Yeah, they're starting to add up a little bit. The other thing I would think off the trip in the pedigree, Little Jewel will be a pretty stiff favorite in there, but I think they got to run down She's Stormy. We'll go on to the fourth race now, and this is a fun race now. These are older maidens now, 4-year-olds and up. We're going 6 furlongs. We've got a 5-year-old first-time starter down inside for Bill Mott. We've got a 4-year-old first-time starter for Todd Pletcher. A quality road here for Todd. Obviously, this wasn't the plan to debut now, but it is what it is, and there's a slew of work showing.
Yeah, there is, and we've got a replay of just a bit of the work here from Lakota territory. This horse is bred up and down just so nicely. Now, here he is working on the outside with Sweet as Pie here, and just a heavier quality road. I could imagine there were some setbacks here to not get him to the races, but working from the gate here, I like the speed he shows. He's got his ears pricked. He just kind of pulls away. Now, Sweet as Pie catches back up to him, and they get head-to-head here. But it's still, this is a solid work. This is what you like to see coming into a race like this. And what I really like about this work is that was back in December. Now this horse has been training locally under Anthony Schmetta's care at Gulfstream Park, and I feel like that almost gives him a little bit of an edge.
No, I agree with you. He's been here. I think that's important. He can just kind of walk over. A la carte, 5-year-old first time Uncle Mo for Bill Mott, and the work's certainly whisper ready. This is a long time to make your debut.
It is, and I hope that it plays well for them. I don't like the post position. I don't care if you're a first-time 8-year-old horse. It's just, it's not a place you want to be. I think that if this horse can overcome it, it'll be impressive, and maybe he'll be all right. But 14% debut winners for Uncle Mo here. And Billy Mott and Junior Alvarado, they're firing hot.
No doubt. They won the Pegasus on Saturday. Citizen Mac is the proven commodity, but he hasn't been out since August, so we'll see what we get. Hey, I jumped the gun here. Ron's Rainbow 6, by the way, and he'll be up later. We'll take a look at it now. There's $100,000 in that guaranteed gross jackpot guarantee. 43.20, no singles in there, so I'm assuming his best bet is early on the card. You can see it here, and he's got the main contenders certainly in this race, and then the 2s and 3s throughout the ticket there. No single. That's the playbook. 43.20. He'll be with me for the opener. That kicks off the early pick 5. We'll take a break here. When we come back, late pick 5 time. Stay tuned.
This is a championship meet. All the best jockeys in the world are here, and I'm excited to ride against them.
We back.
And you get to watch some really incredible, talented athletes out there.
To us, it's a place to be in the winter.
I love Gulfstream Park because of the racing.
The palm trees, the beach is right here. The horse racing is some of the best in the country.
A lot of good horses come out of here. And if you want to go to the next level, Gulfstream Park was the place to come.
I remember the first time I came to Gulfstream, it was like this big fairy tale place. All the history.
Shoemaker sitting perfectly still. He hasn't touched this magnificent colt, and here comes the finish.
And all these great horses, trainers, jockeys. It was everything that I ever dreamed of.
And welcome back to Gulfstream today. Brian and Samantha with you. We changed it. My bad. We changed it up a little bit, but we're 4 down. That means there's 5 to go, and that's the late pick 5 here, kicking off on the turf in race 5. And it's a state-bred optional claimer here. Fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. We'll take a look at Samantha's ticket right now.
Yeah, and I struggled with this a little bit. It was a tough sequence for me. I ended in this race with the number 1 as my top pick, Riveting Spirit. I don't trust Judge Judith. We're going to get to that in a minute, but I just don't trust this horse. But I'll be wrong, and you can kick me for it later. In race number 6, this is one I felt like I could take all of them or just pick one. I landed on No Angel. I'm just going to die by that single here. Race number 7, the 3 is my top pick. Sovereign of Speed looks like going to be the speed of the race. Hopefully take them wire to wire in this 1 mile distance. I actually scratched into that one. And race number 8, 3 deep. The number 9 is my top pick. 1.5 mile marathon distance. These races are a jockey's race. Yeah, exactly. It's a tough race, but we talked about yesterday. Excited to see the horse of Kelsey Danner come back, so I had to put that one in as well. That is the number 7, Hoku. And in race 9, if I'm still alive by this point, I hope I am. I went deep in this DePita race. Any given day, these horses could take turns beating each other or have a different result. So the number 2 is my top pick, though. Wolf Riot, Jose D'Angelo. Hoping for a nice day from them today. $30 is the price.
Yeah, and that late double, as you can see with her ticket, is essentially she's playing a $15 late double. It is not easy at all, and that's where you could get a lot of value in this sequence. And quite frankly, it's not easy to kick off the sequence either on the turf here. And as I mentioned, I'll lead it off because it is my best bet of the day. Judge Judith, it's just not in the running lines, but she basically broke sideways at Saratoga. She was supposed to be the controlling speed that day. And what happened was she had to go on the hard chase, and it kind of sapped her a little bit late. I just don't see anybody running with her today. And this is I know it was a $50,000 claimer. That was an open claimer. She's back with Florida Breds today, and I hope she pops this field.
Yeah, and she really could. And this was a filly that had a kind of an interesting summer. So Kathleen O'Connell has a bulk of her horses at Monmouth Park and did get a win there at Monmouth. And that was a good track that day. And I went back in my notes, and it was a little less than good in my opinion. And the speed was good at Monmouth on the grass there, but it was not that day. And she still took them wire to wire and then came to Colonial and won as well. So she's got the back class here, but I almost wonder, is it too good to be true? Yeah,
it's possible. And, we lose the 8 and we lose the 2. So, I felt she was going to be 5 or 6 to 1 in this spot anyway. And now all bets are off. We'll see. She's going to be bet. No pun intended. Riveting Spirits down on the inside. She's going to be like getting back to turf, getting with Florida Breds too.
Exactly. And I actually scratched into this horse here. I ride Ortiz for Safi. These are connections you can't ignore. And the last 3 wins from this mare were on the grass. So she gets back to her preferred kind of surface here. And she already had a tightener under her belt on the Tapeta. I think that there's a lot of good things going for her, but she's going to have to set up a trip. Rails are at 63 feet. Plays well for Judge Judith. Yeah,
and speaking of setting up a trip, Speed Salsa on the outside. She's going to need to break alertly, or she's going to run the risk of losing a lot of ground.
Yeah, she is. And Kelly Breen, this is a Florida bred that was running in Jersey as well. He's got a lot of horses there over the summertime. And this horse was a consistent horse. And I was never on the right side of her at Monmouth. I gave up with her. I just wonder, is there enough pace for her?
Yeah, exactly. And if you're not familiar with the Frosted Oats race that she comes out of, and State Crown did too, Frosted Oats was a class dropper for Bill Mott that's going places this year.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a bad third by any stretch of the imagination. You can see how fast that race was for the level. So don't sleep on Speed Salsa. Post could be a little problematic, though, for her. Race number 6 kicks off the late pick 4 on the Tapeta here in a starter optional claimer, 4-year-olds and up. And we'll take a look at my ticket here. It's a $24 ticket. It's basically a lot of spreads in a single. We'll get to this race in a second. Number 9. Samantha, the 7th is a use 6 or 8 of them, or use 1, and I'm not going to use 6 or 8 of them, so we'll get to Royal Kitten in a little bit. And then I'm with her that it's a spready in the last 2 legs. I go with So High, who I think is loose and controlling, coming down to South Florida. Hoku, we'll talk about that one as well. I was so impressed with the debut. And then 3 deep. I just missed using her too. I had Wolf Rayette in 4th, but I went with Tovia, who I liked the debut, and maybe we're a little tighter here today. $24 on that one. So let's get to race 6 here. Again, we're sprinting on the Tapeta. Several different ways you can go. Yep. There's some speed, there's some pressers, there's some closers. We know that you want to be close early, and that's kind of how I played it. You went with No Angel on top. I know Liz Dobles and Imaginary and John Ganaria have really been firing of late. And, well, just before I throw it to you, that race 2 back was absolutely huge.
Yeah, it was. It was massive. And Feast, if you don't know him, you'll see him eventually here. A freak of a horse, just a nice older horse that continues to win. This horse switched barns. They tried the horse on the grass first off the claim, and wasn't a bad run by any means at all, but this horse is really taken to the Tapeta. I like they're getting him back on it here today. Liz Dobles saw fit for the claim for $25,000. I mean, they don't just drop in for anything here. That's a nice claim for them, and she spots these horses well.
Yeah.
I felt like you could go so many different ways. I had to just pick one, and this is the one that I felt I could trust a bit more than the others.
And Liz is up to 32% off the claim. Many, if not all of those wins with Imaginary and John, and they do a great job. You said it perfectly, of spotting her stock, putting her horses in races that, they're kind of heck to pay. Tape to tape is the controlling speed. How far does he want to take them? That remains to be seen. Is he as good on Tapeta as he is on turf? That remains to be seen too. I got to go with favorites, or I got to go with speed in these kind of races. I will bring up a stat though. It's a little counter kind of productive of what I picked here, but this is Larry Ravelli. He's 3 for 15 on Gulfstream sprints, because you see the all-weather stats. He's 29%. He is 3 for 15. I will say this: he's 0 for 13 without favorites. So if they bet the horse, they're going to run. They got to catch him though.
Yeah, they do. And we brought this up yesterday. With the Tapeta track, when it is toasty like this, it expands. So sometimes horses like this will be in trouble because it will slow them down a bit, and they might not get the lead or be going as quickly as they can. And especially 2:38 in the afternoon, this race goes off. It's going to be toasty by then.
A little steamy here in Hollandale Beach today. Number 4, Super Success, another one off the claim. This one for Fernando Abreu.
Yeah, and getting Tyler Gaffalione on his back here had a lot of nice races at Woodbine. I sat and waited on this horse last out, kind of starting to figure out these Woodbine horses a little bit more. Let's give him an out first here. Get him tightened up, bring him back. He already got the tightener under his belt, and it was actually just proved my theory wrong because he did win that last out. But I think that this was a nice claim as well and could come back and do it again.
No, but to your point, this is Marty Drexler's lone. This was Marty Drexler's lone win so far at the meet. So these horses have needed a race to gear up. But the fact that this one won says, you know what, take another look today here in race number 6. Late pick 3 time in the 7th. It's a deep and competitive one here. We're going to flat 1-turn mile on the main track. 4-year-olds and up, which have never won 3. 62.50 is the tag, and you went with number 3, Sovereign of Speed. Jose D'Angelo starting to pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, he is, and this horse, I was looking for fresh legs in this race, and that's why I landed on this horse here. We're not that far into the meet, but sometimes these horses run quite often when they're kind of just at this lower claiming level. I like the fact that he hasn't had a race since December 1st, and hoping that little off the freshness will play to his advantage.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to go quicker. I think he was flow aided last time, but in these kinds of spots, I've said it a lot, I don't think it's a bad thing to be rising in class off a win.
Right, yeah, it's not. And this horse is a newly turned 4-year-old, so not terrible form, and I'm glad they're keeping him where he fits.
Yeah, and so I'll go to Royal Kitten now. We're going to go off the claim for the first time on the main track for Peter Walder. Didn't do any running on the Tapeta routing 2 turns last time, but I think he's back where he's supposed to be. You look at the prior form on the main track. I just kind of feel like it's better than these horses. And again, I said it, I'm not going to pick all of them. This is the one I landed on.
Yeah, exactly. And I went back and forth between these two. I actually picked this horse on top last time on the Tapeta. I just thought that his nice kind of Tapeta form he had when he broke his maiden at Turfway Park a few moons ago was going to just come back, and didn't work out for me, so I'm not going to get burned by him today. But Luis Saez, he'll be aggressive with him early.
Yeah, Charming Charlie back to the main track as well for off the claim for Joe Orsino. He's certainly not out of the realm of possibility either. It's a good late double here. And the feature today is 1.5 miles on the turf. These are 4-year-olds and up. It's an optional claimer, 35 or a 1X. It's a good, solid, competitive field, and we're kind of all over the place, but we've got the same 4 in the mix. I know you want to show the replay of Inflation Adjusted, who's the 8 today, and 6 Minus, who's the 9 today.
Yeah, so this is the finish of the race here, Inflation Adjusted and 6 Minus. Now, 6 Minus galloped out on the inside. Huge. It's kind of hard to see from the head on here, but Inflation Adjusted is on the outside, and this horse just gallops past the winner. The 7 won the race, not even, I mean, just in a comfortable, ears pricked, like he just had a nice little warm-up jog. So he was a bit further back a little early. I like the fact that he's got this race under his belt, maybe a little more speed into him this time, and I'm expecting something big today, hopefully.
Yeah, and it was both of their first starts at 1.5 miles, and I think twofold, they both ran very well.
Yes.
It also gives them a little bit of a leg up on the competition today. There's layoff horses. We'll get to Hoku in a second. There's horses that maybe could struggle at this distance, or at least, if nothing else, take a race to get acclimated to. So High, to me, is as loose as the Hall of Famer Javier Castellano wants him to be. He comes down from New York with good turf form. Nipel Chotterpaw, if you're not really familiar with this barn, he's aggressive with his horses and where they run. You'll see him in a lot of stakes races and things like that, and maybe a little bit over their head. But to me, they've got to run him down.
They do. And how far will his class take him, Brian? This is, he only ran in one race last year. So if I was an owner and a trainer came to me and said, I would say, we're going to do what now? But there's craziness in the chaos sometimes, and this actually might be a move that works. Like you said, they like this horse, and if they shipped him down where the weather's warm, sometimes that can throw him off a bit, though.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
And coming out of those races in New York, but this is not a barn that's here. So I think it's significant that he's going to come down. He's going to get a name rider as well. We'll just see. He does, as Samantha kind of mentioned, he's got some class. Hoku, I watch a lot of replays, take a lot of notes at Tampa. I was really, really impressed with his debut for Kelsey Danner. He's 18-1 that day. He's certainly going to get the acid test here today. I like the fact that Kelsey brings him here, though. These are much bigger waters.
Yeah, they are. And he's got a race under his belt already, and he's still proving himself. What have we seen from these other horses? They're probably going to stay at this level, but this horse could be anything.
Yeah, and an 18-1 might have surprised that day, but the way he did it was he looked more like about 7-5. To me, I'm excited to see him here. It's a tough race in all those, late horizontal sequences. So we'll wrap it up in the 9th. We're on the Tapeta here, sprinting 5.5. These are 3-year-old fillies. The tag, $35,000. We've basically got everything just a little jumbled around. I know Wolf Rayette, your top pick in a race you spread as well.
Yeah, this is a tough one, and it's hard to make a case. I mean, you could make a case, for any of these horses. I think that this one, she was a little more wide than I think she needed to be in that last race, going 5.5 furlongs. I like that she's drawn in more this time. She was the far outside last, and hopefully she can get it done today. If Jose Angelo has a good day today, so does Samantha.
Yeah, there you go. We'll see if Louise Size can get her a little closer. I think that would help too, and that's kind of why I went with Tovia in here on top, the 9 horse. She sped off last time, tired just a little bit. She was 2 lengths clear in deep stretch. You'd like to see him see it out, but the winner, Cavallo, who scratched out of yesterday, was my long shot play. I thought she was really impressive that day, so I'm not going to, downgrade her for losing to her. Speed from the outside, I think that's a spot for Paco too.
Yeah, it really is, and he can be aggressive with them. Had a nice win yesterday on a big upset winner, and you'll get a price.
Yeah, 8-1 on the morning line. It's a wide open race. 3-1 favorite on the 5. Well, Beauty Destiny. We'll call her the other Jose D'Angelo, or maybe this is the Jose D'Angelo and you're on the other one. But she ran very well on debut. Yeah,
she really did, and you kind of wonder, is it too good to be true? She kind of broke a bit poorly, which you can understand for a first-time starter. I assume she'll be more forward here today, but that being said about breaking poorly, Jose D'Angelo came back and worked her an easy half from the gate at Palm Meadows. You love to see moves like that. You can't be afraid with these horses to do stuff like this. It doesn't take a lot out of them. Get them sharp. This is 5.5 furlongs. You want them to leave the gates running.
I don't know what we're getting from Pink Party Pants. She seemed like a giveaway last time for 16.
So.
Confident, though, that Fernando Abreu claims her and moves her up to 35.
Yeah, I loved this horse last time. I was really disappointed. Didn't work out. Maybe we'll get the right side of her today, I hope.
Yeah, and you could get a little price as well on the rise away from Danny Gargan. So 9 races here, and that's it. Fast and firm day. Tapeta as well. Before we leave, it's a big lightning round and potentially an award-winning run that Ron put together here. We've got 7 of them listed there, and none more so important than the Holy Bull on Saturday. That path to the Florida Derby kicks off. And here we go. Good job, guys. Here's your graphic.
Oh, it's a great race. I know you're super excited for Lord Miles. I'm going to go against you here, though. I'm on Rocket Can.
Yeah, I think he's, to me, is the most I'm going to call him most likely winner, but I'm going to give Lord Miles his blinkers going on Saturday. Go back and watch his races. I think he's just kind of sort of trying to figure this game out a little bit. Maybe the blinkers put that into him. And Cycle of Mischief, awesome with a huge figure here last time. He's going to have to do it again. We'll see what happens there. And the segue here, because you see the early post there, that's an 11:50 post now with 12 races on Saturday, 5 of them stakes, 5 of them graded, 5 of them for the 3-year-olds.
It's an incredible day of racing tomorrow. I spent a ton of time last night on all of this, as I'm sure Ron and you did as well. When it's nice horses like these, it's fun to really dive into these race replays and past performances. It'll be a really nice day of racing, and the Coast to Coast Pick 5 features an all stakes Coast to Coast Pick 5.
Good call, and that's Saturday. The first one on Saturday, we come back Sunday, but this is an all stakes Pick 5 on Saturday, $1 minimum. I like that, and the 15%, the 15% takeout as well. So Saturday and Sunday there.
Yeah, it'll be a really nice day of racing, and I think that there are potentially some upsets, but 3 races here from Gulfstream Park, so make sure to pay close attention to all of our picks tomorrow. We'll give them out to you, and maybe you can take down this Pick 5.
Yep, and I'll have a video for that too with Jeff Siegel out in California, Jeremy Plonk as well. Your best bet today?
My best bet is Lakota Territory coming from the Todd Pletcher barn. First-time starter. Let's see how he fares out.
I like it. And then mine is a race later. That's Judge Judith. 12-1 is not going to happen, especially with the scratch, but you won't have to look hard to find her, at least early on.
Yeah.
Your long shot?
I'm ripping the Band-Aid off early, as I think you are too in the first race. Mr. Pacifist at 15-1.
Oh, I like it.
Let's see.
Who is my long shot in today? I don't think it's. Oh, that's right.
There you go.
That is Hollywood Close-Up.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't have it on my form there. So prices galore in race number 1. Let's see what happens. It's a spread race for sure. Claudia will be with us a little bit later. Race 2 and 6 today, I believe. And also, of course, being Friday, pick more winners than her, and you can win up to $500.
Yeah, and that's a tough one. She's in fuego. That's on fire.
That's on fire. I got that. I got that. And a couple more. Santa Anita's got their mandatory Rainbow 6. I think they're pegging $3 million in that pool on Sunday, February 5th. You know what I go. That's always the over in that. You know, I don't know if it's great to compare, but we thought we'd get $3 million on Sunday, and we got $6.2 million.
Yep.
So I do like to bet the overs in more sports than just horse racing. And last but not least, you are Beat the Expert, and you do not have a big bar to clear, as I set it quite low for you.
Well, thank you for doing that. Ron set it the highest out of all of us. Yeah, so let's see if I can catch up to him. Maybe his good luck will run off on me on the office. But, yeah, pick more winners than me tomorrow. You can sign up at GulfstreamPark.com/wagering, and you can win a polo.
Win a free polo. So that's it on the lightning round, a big one, but it's deserving so with another big weekend here at Gulfstream Park. Samantha will leave us and head towards the turf course. Ronnie will be out here for race number 1. Early pick 5, already over $100,000. The pools are going to be huge today. There's some cancellations around the country. There's nothing but beautiful sunshine and fast and firm, and the Tapeta here today. Pete Aiello is going to walk you through the card, and we'll be back for the opener. Stay tuned.
We're ready for the start.